Lila clutched the worn strap of her duffel bag, her heart a frantic drum against her ribs. The wrought-iron gates of Oakwood Academy loomed before her, an imposing monument to privilege and tradition. Sunlight glinted off the manicured lawns and the ivy-covered walls of the ancient buildings, creating a picture postcard scene that felt both beautiful and utterly terrifying. Lila knew this wasn't just any school. It was a world of wealth and expectations she barely understood. She took a deep breath, the scent of freshly cut grass and blooming roses filling her lungs. This was it, her chance. But the weight of her secret, the fear that gnawed at her insides, threatened to pull her back. Lila wasn't just a scholarship student. She was a beacon of intelligence and quiet determination. In her old neighborhood, she'd been the girl who devoured books under the flickering streetlights, the one who aced every test despite working part-time at the local diner. Her dark hair framed a face with striking features, high cheekbones, a determined jawline, and eyes that held a spark of fierce intelligence. It was those eyes that gave her away, revealing a depth and complexity that belied her shy demeanor. She was effortlessly smart, a natural learner, but beneath her confident facade lay a hidden vulnerability, a secret she guarded with her life. That shame felt like a physical burden, a lead weight in her stomach. Every night, as darkness crept over the campus, the fear intensified. Lila would lie awake, listening to the rhythmic breathing of her roommate, Clara, praying that tonight would be different, but it rarely was. The bedwetting had plagued her since childhood, a cruel and relentless reminder of her perceived inadequacy. Countless doctor visits, embarrassing tests, and ineffective treatments had only amplified her sense of helplessness. The thought of being discovered, of the whispers and the ridicule, was a constant nightmare. Clara swept into the room like a hurricane of designer clothes and entitled arrogance. Her blonde hair was perfectly coiffed. Her designer clothes screamed. Wealth and her entourage of equally privileged girls trailed behind her like loyal subjects. She surveyed Lila with a dismissive gaze, her lips curling into a sneer. "Well, well," she drawled, her voice dripping with disdain. "Looks like the scholarship program has reached a new low." Her friends erupted in giggles, their eyes fixed on Lila with undisguised contempt. Lila's heart plummeted. She knew, in that instant, that Oakwood was going to be a battleground. The initial barbs soon turned into a relentless campaign of torment. Lila's textbooks vanished, only to reappear with pages torn and scribbled with insults. Whispers followed her down the hallways, morphing into outright taunts. One morning she found her favorite sweater shredded beyond repair. The cruelty was systematic, designed to break her spirit. Lila tried to ignore it, to focus on her studies, but the constant barrage of negativity chipped away at her resolve. She felt isolated and alone, a target in a world that seemed determined to crush her. The dreaded moment arrived with a sickening certainty. Lila jolted awake, her sheets cold and damp against her skin. Panic seized her. She scrambled out of bed, her hands shaking as she ripped off the soiled sheets and stuffed them into a plastic bag. She had to dispose of them before Clara woke up, before her secret was exposed. But as she turned, she saw Clara sitting up in bed, her eyes narrowed, a predatory glint in their depths. "What's that you're hiding?" Clara hissed, her voice like a viper's strike. Clara lunged for the bag, ripping it open with a triumphant shriek. The truth was undeniable, laid bare for all to see. "Look what little Lila did!" Clara screeched, her voice echoing through the room. "She's a baby! She wets the bed!" The other girls, roused from their sleep, joined in the laughter, their voices sharp and cruel. Lila stood frozen, her face burning with shame. her worst nightmare unfolding before her eyes. The sound of their laughter was a deafening roar in her ears. The humiliation was relentless. Lila became Lila, the butt of every joke. Girls splashed water on her as she walked by, leaving diapers on her bed. The constant taunts eroded her confidence, turning her into a shell of her former self. She stopped eating, haunted by the fear of discovery. Sleep became a luxury she couldn't afford. The vibrant, intelligent girl who had arrived at Oakwood was slowly fading away, replaced by a shadow consumed by shame and fear. But even in the depths of despair, a spark of defiance flickered within her. Lila was a survivor. She wouldn't let them break her. She began to fight back, not with insults or violence, but with her sharp wit and unwavering intelligence. When Clara tripped her, Lila simply brushed herself off and said, "Careful, Clara. I wouldn't want you to break a nail. Looks like you already did." When they called her names, she responded with a cutting remark that left them speechless. During history class, the teacher asked a difficult question about the French Revolution. Clara, eager to impress, offered a shallow and incorrect response. Lila, who had been quietly listening, raised her hand and delivered a brilliant analysis, revealing a deep understanding of the subject. The teacher praised her insight, and Clara's face flushed with humiliated rage. It was a small victory, but it marked a turning point. Some of the other girls began to see Lila in a new light. Emily, who had always been intimidated by Clara, saw the pain in Lila's eyes and recognized the injustice of the bullying. One afternoon, she approached Lila and offered her a hesitant smile. Soon they are inseparable, supporting each other, going through thick and thin together. Clara, desperate to regain control, decided to reveal Lila's secret at a school assembly. As Clara announced that Lila was a bedwetter, all eyes fell on Lila. Emily stepped forward and said, "So what? Bedwetting is a medical condition. It's not something to be ashamed of." Lila, emboldened by Emily's support, spoke up. "It's true, I wet the bed, but it doesn't define who I am. I'm still smart, I'm still capable, and I'm still worthy of respect." From that day on, Lila was accepted for who she was. She became a leader in the school, advocating for acceptance and understanding. Lila never completely stopped wetting the bed, but it no longer held the same power over her. Lila realized that true strength comes from within, from accepting yourself and standing up for what you believe in. She had learned that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope for a brighter future.